And 71% of you have voted. I'm going to get ready to close this poll. This is not a surprise. I'm going to share what the results are. So go ahead and select what works best. I'm surprised no one has picked all of the above in this world. If you've been around for a long time, it's maybe number 5. So I'm going to get ready to close. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, with a few sleepers out there, maybe your answer wasn't available. It looks to me like 80% said Excel and 20% said SSRS. Good to know. So that means we've got some SQL guys on the phone here today. All right, Ohi, I am going to get ready to hand over today's presentation. I'll let you know when I see your screen. Again, Solver is a solution that we highly recommend to our clients. We have many, many clients that are using it for reporting and budgeting purposes. Also, I'm very proud to say that they're great partners to work with in doing this education. We'll do these at least on a quarterly basis. But on top of that, we do have staff internal, and they can do the implementation and support of the Solver product. So that is a great benefit for you as our client. With that being said, Ohi, I can see your screen. Go ahead, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Kim, for the introduction. My name is Ohi Cho, and I'm so excited to demonstrate our comprehensive BI solution for you today. I will focus on reporting and how you can use BI 360 to automate and combine all of your financial and operational data with our business intelligence suite. So just to give you a little background on our company, Solver is headquartered out of Los Angeles, and we're a fast-growing company. We have partnered with many great companies to grow our customer base. We have over 1,400 customers in over 40 countries. We have offices all over the world in the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, and India. Our company product, BI 360, is a business intelligence solution tool that has won many awards over the years. We have been included in the prestigious Gartner Group Magic Quadrant for corporate performance management for the past couple of years. So why does BI 360 win all these awards? It's because customers choose our product time and time again because it is extremely easy to use. It's a complete self-service business intelligence suite, and we have deep integrations built across many ERP platforms. So in today's webinar, Advance Your Reporting Automation Using Both Your Financial and Operational Data series, I hope that you'll be able to see how BI 360 can bring together your operational data with your financial data. So if you need to do any consolidations, you can do so with our product. And the nice thing, and you'll learn about our data warehouse later, but with BI 360, you can either combine your ERP system to do consolidations, or if you have any disparate data sources, maybe an operational data source, payroll, any Excel files that you maintain internally, you can bring that all over into our data warehouse to report off of. And with BI 360, we can enable your organization to automate your weekly or bi-weekly reports and forecasting in a very user-friendly self-service suite. All right, and so we have deep integrations into all of the dynamic products, and essentially I will show you how this works, but you design in Excel and you have the option to deploy through a very user-friendly web portal. All right, and so the purpose of this webinar today is to demonstrate how your organization can accomplish automation and more. All right, so what is BI 360? It's a business intelligence tool that enables you to design reports and budget templates in Excel. So, based off of the poll, 80% of the folks on the call use Excel. So I think you guys will really love our tool, given that you guys are already familiar with Excel. And so designing reports with Excel add-in tool is very user-friendly. BI 360 offers automated budgeting and forecasting with workflow, so that is another piece of our tool. We have budgeting as well. And because BI 360 is a self-service suite, it eliminates the need to ask IT for assistance to manage your BI solution. BI360 improves insight into overall business performance, and manual processes can be eliminated with better data integrity. And like I mentioned earlier, multiple disparate data sources can easily be managed to get one version of the truth. All right, so this is our architecture. It's a simplified architecture diagram, and it gives you an overview of how all of the BI360 modules fit together and also how all of the data flows from one module to another. So I'm going to talk about this reporting module first because that is the focus of our webinar. All right, so with our reporting tool, like I mentioned, it's an Excel-based report designer tool. It will give you, the reporting tool gives you the ability to design reports and budget template. And because BI360 is an Excel add-in, you can utilize all of Excel's features like graphs, formulas, and formatting to build a BI360 report. It is extremely user-friendly and uses a simple drag-and-drop functionality that will enable you to control your rows and columns and slice and dice your report or template however way you want. So with reporting, you have the option to build directly out of the ERP. Okay, and we call that our live ERP connection, in that we have access to not only your financial module, but all of the other subledger modules. You'll have the ability to build reports off, operational reports. And anytime you make a journal entry change in your ERP, the BI360 reports will automatically update because it is a live connection. Right? However, we also have a data warehouse, and this is where if you want to bring in multiple data sources like a payroll system or any operational data source that you guys have, or even internal data warehouses that you maintain, you can bring that all into a data warehouse. And again, this is where you can combine disparate sources into a single version of the truth, and you can build reports off of the data warehouse. Now, data can be pushed into our data warehouse via an integration we call SQL Service Integration Services, and so that's an automatic integration. It can be scheduled however frequent you want, on a nightly basis, every couple of hours. You determine the frequency, and essentially the integration will get all of the data into the data warehouse. And once the data is in the data warehouse, you can build reports off of it. Another tool that we have for reporting is essentially dashboards. Now, dashboards are nice visuals to essentially get the information, whether it's from your ERP or the data warehouse, and puts it in nice visual format, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. Our dashboards are in our web portal. It's extremely user-friendly. Dashboards are interactive with drill downs. You can run it for specific parameters, and the dashboards are also extremely easy to build. All right, and so with that, and actually there we do also have a budgeting feature. I will just quickly talk about it once I get into our web portal, but essentially with our budgeting module, you do have the ability to write budget data back into our data warehouse using our templates, and that is also an automatic process in that you just click a button, and with the click of a button, your budget data will automatically get pushed into data warehouse. Anything you push into the data warehouse, you can pull it back out in a report or dashboard format. All right, so before I jump into the product portion of the presentation, I do want to take another poll. So Kim, if you can please display the second poll question.
You bet. All right, here you go, everybody. Let your fingers do the dancing. Our organization needs better reporting from. Ooh. All right. A third of you have voted. I'm going to get ready to close this down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, only 56% of the folks voted, so it could be that the answer wasn't there, but it looks like it is 60% said all of the above. That's not surprising to me. All right, Ohi, so that gives you an idea of the answers. Anything you want to say before I hand this back to you?
Yeah, so Kim, I actually can't see the poll questions on
Okay,
my screen. Can you just
you betcha.
kind of,
You
yeah.
bet. 20% said our ERP,
Hmm.
20% said operational data, and 60% said all of the above.
Great. Thank you so much, Kim.
You bet.
So now what I'm going to do is go into our web portal and you'll see how, you can build, you'll see what the end user's perspective would be in viewing the reports. And I hope to show you examples, financial examples, of course, along with operational reports as well, given that, a majority of you have a combination of ERP data and operational data for reporting needs. All right, so this is our web portal. This is a main library page. There are several ways you can view all of your reports. Now with our web portal, you have the ability to view dashboards, reports, and do budget entries all within a single place. And so it's really nice because a lot of customers have one tool to do dashboards, another tool for budgeting, and another tool for reporting. But with BI 360, you can do all of those within a single tool. Now there are folders here to the left. And so as an admin person, you can set up as many folders as you want to group reports into categories. So for example, financial reports will go into one folder, operational reports in another, and if you have any budgeting templates, etc., you can create folders for those as well. And you can even assign users into these folders. So the nice thing about that is that if, as an end user, when I log in with my end user credential, I will immediately see the folders and reports that are specifically assigned to me only. So this is a great way to organize and assign reports to your end users. All right. You also have the ability to favorite your most commonly used items. You just simply click a star and it will automatically be favorited. And the nice thing about favoriting is whether it's a dashboard, report, or even budget template, you can easily access your favorited items down below without having to go into the main library page. I'm going to start off by showing you some examples of dashboards. So these dashboards can be created with your ERP data, or if you have multiple data sources and you bring that into the data warehouse, you can even build a dashboard off of the data warehouse. It doesn't matter what the data source is, ERP or the data warehouse, the dashboard designing experience is the same in that it's drag and drop. So you pick the fields that you want displayed and you drag and drop it into these mini graphs here. And then you would specify whether you want it to be a bar chart, pie chart, line graph, etc. Now dashboards are a great way to keep track of important metrics. It provides nice visuals. And so in this example here, we call this our CFO dashboard. They are driven by parameters that you see here, and this is where you can even customize depending on how you want to slice and dice this dashboard. So in this example, you would run this for a specific period. You have the option to run it for a specific entity, but if you want to slice and dice this further by department or any other field that exists in the segments of your chart of accounts, or it's a field that exists in your data source, you can create a parameter off of that. All right, and in addition, this is an important dashboard because it has financial data here, and it also has AR data, AP data. So, so the point of this dashboard is it doesn't matter that you have all data coming from different sources. You can have it viewed in a single dashboard page like we have here. All right. So all dashboards have drill down capabilities. So if I click on this is, revenue by company. If I click on a particular company here, it will actually, all of the other graphs will adjust to only show that company that I've selected. In addition, it drills down to the actual account level. So this drill down is something that you could customize if you want to drill into the customer or any other field, or you can even have multiple levels of drill downs. You can do that with our BI260 dashboards. Here you can keep track of your top 10 customers in terms of receivables, your top 10 payables. And just going to show you some other examples. Here, this is a revenue-focused dashboard. So again, driven by parameters, and this time, if you click on a particular entity, it will drill to show you the quarterly breakout. All right, and so the examples that I'm showing you are financial related, but really you can build a dashboard off of anything, again, as long as your data is there. So operational data, we do have a bunch of industry-focused demo models where we have dashboards specific to the industry that you're in, healthcare, non-for-profit, manufacturing, distribution, sports, right? So if you are interested, InterDyn BMI can work with you in getting you the industry-specific examples. All right, so now what I'm going to do is transition into showing you what formatted reports look like on the web portal for the end user. And so I'm just going to use my favorite toggle here to switch into a report now. And again, BI360 is really nice because you don't have to go into a separate tool to view your formatted reports. You can stay within the web portal to easily transition from a dashboard to a reformatted report. All right. And so the web portal is also very powerful because it automates from your various data sources in this portal, because you can run the report from the web portal, or you even have the ability to run this report from a mobile device. And I will show you other features that you can do from your mobile device as well shortly. All right, so this report was designed with our Excel-based report designer. So as you can see, it looks very similar to Excel, but it's not. But the nice thing about designing this report out of Excel is you can incorporate all of Excel's functionality, like formatting is all done through Excel. Even these charts and graphs that you see here are Excel graphs that we've incorporated into this BI360 report. All of the calculations are done using Excel formulas. And even these colors that you see here, this is just an Excel conditional rule that we've placed into our BI360 report that says if a variance percentage exceeds a certain threshold that you define, display a color green. So this will enable you to spend less time on building manual reports, but more time on analysis. All right. So this report is also driven by parameters, something that you guys saw in the dashboards. And, like I mentioned, this essentially enables you to slice and dice this report to the exact level of granularity that you define. So in this example, you can run it for a specific entity. And then this is where security would apply. So when you log into the portal, you log in with a username that's based off of Active Directory, and it's single sign-on. You set up a user security profile. That user security profile can get very granular, where security is limited by entity or department, or you can even limit security at the account level, right? And once that security setting is saved and the user logs in, the security profile will automatically apply to all of these dashboards and reports. And then this is where security would kick in. So if I'm an end user and I only have rights to corporate US, that's the only thing that I'll even be able to see and select from this list. But if I'm a CEO and I log in with my CEO credential and I open up the same report, then I will be able to see and select for all entities. So this is really nice because you don't have to maintain multiple templates for all your various security settings. You just maintain a single report template, and through the use of parameters and securities, BI360 can automatically control what the end user will see depending on his or her security rights. All right, so this is a report that compares actuals to budget. And so with our budgeting tool, you'll even have the ability to budget for multiple budget versions. And so here as a parameter, you'll be able to select which budget version you want to compare your actuals against. All right. And so another automation tool that we've embedded into BI360 is once you run a report in the portal and you want to share it through email, you have the option to hit this. Oops, I accidentally clicked the refresh, but you have the option to share. And once you click the send as email, it'll automatically send this report as an email. You also have the ability to download this report back into Excel. You have the option to download it as an Excel file or even as a PDF. I'm just going to quickly save this onto my desktop here to show you what it looks like when I open up this report in Excel mode. So demo 3. Okay. And so now this is our report in Excel version. And you'll notice when I open it up in Excel, it maintains all of the formatting. Even the column width, you don't have to adjust it. So, it fits in your screen. The formatting is maintained, the charts and graphs are maintained, and even the formulas here are maintained as well. So what users like to do at this point is they like to play around with these numbers to do what-if analysis, because this is a static Excel spreadsheet. So they don't have to worry about making changes to the actual database. And you'll see as I'm typing numbers in, because the formulas are kept, all of the graphs and charts will automatically adjust. All right, so going back into the web portal, I do want to highlight some other features in this report. You do have the ability to drill down. So if you right-click on an amount, you can automatically drill down at the summary level or the detail level. You also have the option to drill to a different module, like a subledger module. So for example, in your sales account, if you want to drill to the sales module, you have the ability to do so within BI360, because with our data warehouse, it will essentially consolidate all of your financial data along with all of your subledger data. All right, and I mentioned this before, but this report can be run from a mobile device. We have an app that you can download. We support iOS and Android. And you will also have the ability to download from your mobile device as well. All right, so we do have a bunch of templates built out that are all available for download. So your typical financial statements, cash flow, balance sheet, they're all you can download them for free with the purchase of our product. Now, these templates are not plug and play because everyone has their different set of chart of account structure. However, they can be easily configured so that you don't have to build reports from scratch, but you can use these as a starting point. All right, so now I want to go into some of the subledger reports examples that we have. So this is a really cool feature. This is an AR report, and within this report, you can even embed links. Okay, and you'll notice if I click on this link, it's going to open up an image of the invoice file. So again, this is another way BI360 can automate your reporting process. You don't have to dig up into your files and look for that invoice page. BI360 can automatically take you there with a click of a button. All right, and some other examples that we have, this is a sales report. So again, you can design it however way you want, by customer, by the product, and you can see the salesperson associated with it. And then, of course, you can embed any graph that you want because these are just Excel graphs that we incorporate into a BI 360 report. A couple of other examples that I want to show you. This is our website analytics report. I think this is really cool because this highlights a feature of our data warehouse. So Google Analytics is a type of data that you can bring over into the data warehouse if you want to keep track of how many people visit your website. So this is something that Solver uses internally. Once that Google Analytics data is in the data warehouse, you can build a report off of it to keep track of visitors on a monthly level, annual level, you determine. All right. You can even keep track of, like your top 5 referral sites, any click counts. And so you have the ability to build non-final financial reports as well with BI 360. Just the key is that the data has to reside in the data warehouse. All right. So with that, I just want to quickly mention within the BI 360 web portal, you do have the ability to do budgeting. You can input budget amounts. That is also a feature within the web portal. So this is the web portal is one way end users can consume reports. We have a tool called the Publisher tool. And essentially what that Publisher tool will do is if you have reports and you've built your templates, you can create something called a subscription. And say you have, you want to create a monthly board package. You determine what reports will make up this board package. So you select your files like you would like a regular Excel file if they're saved onto a desktop. You select your reports. You can even include like a cover page or an image as part of this monthly board package. You determine what the format of the report is going to be in, Excel or PDF. You'll determine where it's going to get sent to. It can automatically get sent to a shared network drive or even to someone's inbox. You determine who the subscribers will be. And then based on their security profile, when the Publisher tool distributes the report, it will automatically apply their security setting. And this is a powerful part here. You can schedule this board package. If it's a report that goes out on a monthly basis, you set the schedule and you don't ever have to run the reports yourself. You don't have to refresh your report. The Publisher tool can automatically distribute reports for you, whether it's on a monthly basis, weekly basis, or even daily basis. So the Publisher tool is a very powerful way to help automate your reporting needs. All right, so with that, I am now going to go into our Excel report designer to show you how reports can get created from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I just have the Excel application open. This is just regular Excel, something you guys are already familiar with, given that majority of you use Excel. But you'll notice here we have this BI 360 reporting add-in. So I'm going to click into there. All right. And so now that I showed you how you can automate, we talked about automating through the portal, through your mobile device, through our Publisher tool. And so what I'm going to show you now is how you can build these reports from scratch using our simple, easy to use Excel add-in tool. So here, this is where you have the option to build your report off of the data warehouse. And this is where I said if you have multiple data sources, I know majority of you guys have separate operational data source, you can bring that into the data warehouse and report off of it. Or if you have a Dynamics ERP, GP, NAV, SL, you have the ability to build reports directly off of that live connection. And later in this presentation, I will show you what that live connection will look like. Doesn't matter if you're connected to the data warehouse or your ERP though, the design experience is exactly the same. The only difference is that the field labels will be different, obviously because it's pointing to a different data source. All right. And so while that's loading up, I do want to talk about this report designer pane. So essentially anyone with a power user license will have the ability to design. All right. And this is where if you bring in multiple data sources into the data warehouse, each data source will be listed as a module on this list. So ERP will populate this GL module. If you bring in payroll, Altipro, ADP, Ceridian, that will also be a separate module that you could report off of. I mentioned earlier this Google Analytics. If you want to keep track of how many people visit your website, you bring Google Analytics into the data warehouse, you can build reports off of Google Analytics data. And so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So if I open up this Google Analytics field, I mentioned designing reports is drag and drop. So essentially all fields within the Google Analytics data will appear on a list for you to pick and choose and drag and drop it into a report design. So what I'm going to do now is actually build a simple trial balance report to show you how easy it is to build reports with our BI260 report designer. All right, so formatting, all of that is 100% Excel. And customers absolutely love this because they don't need to learn something new to do their report design. All right, and I mentioned the drag and drop concept. So in designing a trial balance, what fields do I want to see? I want to see the natural account. So I'm going to look for my natural account field, and essentially all segments of your chart of accounts will appear on a list for you to drag and drop. I'm going to drag the account field in. This is where you have the option to control whether it's going to expand on the rows or across the column. So I want it to be a row expansion. I want to see my account descriptions associated with it. And last but not least, I want to see the amounts. All right, so I'm literally just dragging and dropping fields in. So let me just execute this for you. So anyone with the end user license will have the ability to run a report even within the Excel mode. So two ways to consume reports. You can, go to the web portal and run the reports, or you can run reports from Excel depending on your preference. So when you run this report, you'll now see all of my accounts, descriptions, and amounts. And even within Excel, you do have the ability to drill down. So like I mentioned, you can drill down at the summary level, detail level. You can even drill to a different module. You also have the ability to drill down in a pivot table view, so I'll quickly show you what that looks like. So I know majority of you use Excel for reporting, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with pivot tables. You have the ability to automatically do that with BI260. If I drill down at the summary level, you'll notice it's pulling in data for all entities, for all types of currency. So I do want to throw in there that we do have an advanced currency tool. Will automatically convert your currency amount. We also have intercompany eliminations, minority interest eliminations, and all of that can be automated too with our BI260 tool. All right, so if you'll notice in this period column, it's pulling back data going all the way back to 2012, and that's because we didn't place any filters on our report yet. So we're going to slowly add in filters so that we can slice and dice this report to the exact level of granularity that we want. But before I do, I'm going to add a total line here to ensure my trial balance nets to 0. And formulas are all done using Excel formulas, so hopefully everyone's already familiar with this equals sum formula. All right, so what I'm going to do now is actually transition this into a simple P&L report and show you how easy it is to select your account filter. So as I'm building out the revenue piece of this report, I need to specify my revenue accounts. All right, so several ways you can go about selecting your accounts. You can use this lookup icon and it'll populate all of the accounts coming from your ERP. You can use your mouse to highlight your accounts. There is this option called Use Ranges, and this is really nice because anytime you create a new account code in your ERP, that new account code happens to follow this range, happens to fall within this range, BI360 will automatically pick it up. So another way BI360 can automate your reporting process, this will save you so much time because anytime you create a new account code in in your ERP, you don't have to go into all 10, 20 of your reports and manually add it in. BI360 can automatically add that new account code in for you. All right, so you also have, you can even do something like account begins with 4 to select your revenue account, or if you have your accounts mapped to like an account category, you can filter directly off of the account category field. All right, so let me just keep this simple. Do account begins with 4. I'll just run this so you can see what it looks like. So here we have now just our revenues. I'm going to quickly build out the rest of this P&L. Build out my expense side. So we highly recommend copy and pasting. That way all the formatting is kept, formulas are kept. The only thing that you need to tweak is the header and the filters behind it. So here I'm going to select my expenses. And last but not least, I'm going to create a net income calculation line. Net income. And this is a Excel formula everyone on the call should be able to do right now, even without any BI360 training. It's just revenue total minus expense total. All right, so let me just quickly run this so you can see what it looks like. So here we have our full-blown P&L. All right, so for designing columns, this is where you have a lot of flexibility. So if I want to break this out by department, across the columns, all I would do is drag and drop department and make it a column expansion. If I want it broken out by company or any other segment of your chart of accounts, line of business, etc., you just drag and drop it in. I am going to drag my period field in as my column expansion so you can see all of the features we have around period. I'm just going to quickly do some formatting so that my months and years get displayed properly. All right. So with period though, I'm going to make it into a parameter. You can build a parameter off of any of these dimensions of these fields. And essentially when you create a parameter, it will create a prompt in the Run tab, and I'll show you what that looks like. So now that I've created a parameter for a period, if I go to the Run tab, it's now going to ask me for a prompt. What period do I want to run this report for? And like I said, if you want the end user to slice and dice this report by a specific department, you can create a parameter for that, and there'll be a prompt asking you what department you want to choose this report for. You know, if you want to by entity, etc., you can create a parameter. You can create as many parameters as you want. So now if I run this for 2015-05, it now only gives me May data. I'm going to show you some features around the period. So with periods, you know, typically customers like to say current period versus prior year and do a variance calculation, or year-to-date versus prior year-to-date, 3 months rolling, quarter-to-date, etc. So we have a list of functions that you can easily just drag and drop into a period column to do your period manipulation. So here we have this period last year, year-to-date, last year-to-date, quarter-to-date, 3 months rolling, 12 months rolling, etc. And you just drag and drop it in. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to create 2 columns here. The first column is going to be my month-to-date column. I'll just label that. But my second column is going to be my prior month, prior year. All right, and in my second column, I am now going to drag and drop this period last year function. And so here we go. So again, drag and drop functionality. We use that over and over again in BI360. So now my second column, column F, has this period last year function. So now when I run my report, I'm going to run it for 2015-05. The first column will always look to what this period entry is and will display that period. The second column also always looks to this period entry, but it will always display the last year version of it. So this is how we can dynamically use this template, over and over again for future periods. All right, and then last but not least, I'm going to create a variance calculation. And this part everyone should be able to do because it's just a simple current period minus prior year calculation in using Excel formulas. All right. I'll quickly format this. So now in our rows, we have accounts going down the rows. We have periods going across the column. You can even have filters going across the sheet. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to create a parameter for entity. And we actually have a tree for entities. So I'm going to show you what the tree looks like in BI 360. So now if I go to my Run tab, I'm going to get a prompt asking me which entity tree I want to run. So within the data warehouse, you have the ability to create as many trees as you want. I'm going to run this geographical tree, and let me just expand it so you can see all the nodes of this tree. Here we have the top consolidated level, we have an Asian roll-up, we have a Western Hemisphere roll-up. If I run the Western Hemisphere roll-up, it's going to produce 3 tabs. This Western Hemisphere combines Canada and US data in this tab, and then Canada and US gets its own respective tab. If I run it at the consolidated level, it now will produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tab report. This is the entire consolidation of all entities. This is the Asian roll-up, and then this is the Asia entity. So this is extremely powerful because it essentially took a single tab report and it was able to produce a multi-tab automatically, of course, through the use of the tree and depending on what the user selects on the tree node. All right, and so like I mentioned, we do have the ability to embed currency into a report because we have a very powerful currency engine in our data warehouse. So you even have the ability to determine what currency you want displayed on your report by simply dragging and dropping this currency filter in. All right, so with BI 360 you truly get a lot of flexibility and granularity depending on how you want to set up your report. So this is an example of a financial report. If you want to build any operational report off of your subledger data, you just click into that module, and it's the same exact concept of drag and drop. You pick the fields that you want, and you drag and drop it in, and you can build any operational data in the same way that I showed you here in this simple trial balance report. So once you're done creating a report, you like the way it looks, you can add in your company logo, you can format the colors to make it match your logo, right? You have a lot of flexibility with making your reports look really good. You can embed Excel's conditional formatting. You can embed rules in where it says, hey, if a variance percentage exceeds a certain threshold, make it a bright red color. So again, this is to make this is to allow you to spend less time on manually building reports and more time on analysis. So conditional formatting is an Excel feature you can embed into this BI 360 report. When you're done, you can save to your desktop, just like a regular Excel file. And once it's saved, so again, you have the option to use our publisher tool to automatically distribute reports, and it can get sent to someone's inbox. Or you have the option to push this report out into our web portal. All right. When you click on the web, if you simply click this upload report button, then it will automatically get pushed out into the web portal so an end user can log into a browser or even from their mobile device to run these reports. All right. So now I'm going to show you an example of another report. We call this our decision pack report, and this is very powerful and exciting, and customers really get excited when they see this. So I do want to take the time to show this for you. So here we have several reports making up this decision package. it's a P&L report. As you can see, there are these colorful lights. Again, using the Excel conditional formatting feature, you define specific thresholds and it'll display green or red, right? Cash flow, balance sheet, any revenue dashboards. You can embed operational expense cash. You can embed any subledger reports in as well. So here we have a sales report, payments, and this is all part of a package, vendor payments. You can even display dashboard looking graphs. These are actually just Excel graphs, but to capture any key KPIs that are important to your organization, you can include a tab for that. But the very most powerful thing here is this news section. So this is like a US news report where it has the ability to automatically generate these narratives that you see here. So if I click onto the cell, you'll notice in the formula it's actually a bunch of concatenate formulas where it's combining a bunch of words together. And so I'm going to show you, how that gets set up. But essentially, in this rules section, you can determine specific thresholds, like, if your monthly profit exceeds this specific threshold, then display the word great. If not, display the word weak, right? So you can define what these adjectives will be, and you set up these rules. And once these rules are set up, BI360 can automatically generate and combine those words together using a simple Excel formula to automatically create these auto narratives for you. All right, and so this package can be used every month. Those are from your ERP. So again, this is another way BI360 can help you in your reporting process. And again, the point of it is to automate the reporting process so you can spend more time on analysis rather than manually building reports. Okay, so with that, I'm going to show you our Composer tool. So our Composer tool is an ad hoc reporting tool where you can easily build queries. For those folks that use GP, it's very similar to a smart list, but you'll find that it's a lot more user-friendly because we translated all of the SQL table names into plain English so that you can easily identify the fields when you're creating your query. So with the Composer tool, you can even build a query off of your ERP, because we have live integrations built for majority of the Microsoft Dynamics product, or you can even build a Composer query off of the data warehouse. So any data source you bring over, you can build a query off of that. But here I'm actually connected to GP because I wanted to show you what that live integration looks like. And so you'll see you're not limited to just financial queries. You can now build a query off of any of your subledgers. I'm going to quickly go into the sales order module here. And if I open up one of these folders, you'll now notice that customer number is labeled as customer, document number is labeled as document, so you don't have to worry about this, hairy SQL table names. It's all translated for you right here. However, I know that we have a couple of folks that use SSRS already familiar with SQL. You'll notice that if I do hover over one of these dimensions, it will actually show you the table name that it comes from, so that so this is something for those SQL folks that are on the call. So to create a query, really it utilizes the same drag and drop feature that you saw in designing reports. And by the way, this drag and drop feature will also be used in designing a dashboard. So with BI360, we really made an effort to ensure that, whether you're building a query, a dashboard, or report, that the design experience is the same and that it's very easy to use. So, just like the reports, you just pick and choose the fields that you want. You just drag and drop it in. All right. Pull in posting status. Let's get an account description in here. and I want to see my amounts. So I'm just going to quickly run this so you can see what it looks like. So this is just a query here. You have the ability to do some simple sorting. So I'm just going to sort it by department now. And so I have this broken up by the various departments. All right. I'm going to delete this because it looks like we don't have any descriptions here. But here it's now broken up by department 000. I have on my balance sheet accounts. You can add in like a row total to show row totals. Okay. If you want, you can even add in filters. So say you only want to see your revenue count. So filter, selecting your filter is very similar to what you can do in the report. So I'm just going to do something like begins with 4. You can even expand periods across the column. All right, so let me also pull in some period filters here, so I'm not displaying all periods. All right, so the nice thing about these queries is you have several options. You can save this query so that you can reuse it again, and it'll always update and give you the latest data. You also have the ability to export this as an Excel file. And then, of course, you can save this onto your desktop and email this query off to someone outside of your organization that may not have a BID60 license. All right, so this is now what that query looks in Excel. And then you even have the option to export this into our report designer so that you can use this as a starting point to build your formatted reports. All right, so this is our composer tool, and again, this is just another way you can build quick queries for those, you just want to see the data. And this is also great because, if you say you don't have a ERP license, like you don't have a GP license, but you want someone to be able to see the GP data, you could just give them a composer license and they'll have access to the GP database depending on the security that you allow them access for, and they can run queries against the GP database. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap up here. And so I hope that through the presentation today that you are able to see how you can automate your reporting process, whether it's a financial reporting or operational reporting. You can do so with a single reporting tool where essentially you design in Excel, but you have the option to deploy automatically through the web or from a mobile device, or you can even use our publisher tool to automatically distribute reports on a scheduled basis. All right, so I am now going to conclude the presentation. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for attending today's webinar. If you are interested in learning more, you can either contact your InterDyn BMI account executive, or you can contact Tracy Rich from Solver, and here's their contact information. So now with the time that we have left, I am going to open up the floor for questions.
All right, Ohi, that's excellent. So have you ever heard the term sexy? When you look at your product, like the portal and all that information and how you can pony up some great information, that's pretty sexy. Ah, no comment. All right, well, over here on the right-hand side, type in any questions that you would like to ask, and we'll make sure we get those addressed. All right. Ohi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Went quiet there, so I'm not sure if everyone can hear me. So again, on the right-hand side, while we're waiting, Ohi, what are some common questions people ask as they are getting involved in learning more about your products? because I look at your product as really pretty cross the line when it comes to BI reporting and budgeting. But what's typical in getting started? Do they usually start off with the reporting aspect and then move on from there?
So great question. And the nice thing about BI 360 is, yes, it's a complete suite, but the suite is modular in that you don't need to purchase the entire suite, and maybe you're not ready to implement budgeting yet. You can purchase our modules, depending on when you are ready to go with implementation. So you can start off with reporting, and then you can add in, the budgeting piece. You can add in the web portal, just as you see fit in your organization.
Just kind of what's your
So,
big challenge? What do you need to solve and get started that way? All right,
mhm.
good, good. Barry asked a question. I'm going to open up the mic for him because he called in. So Barry, go ahead if you can ask your question.
Yeah, so I see a lot of interaction and a lot of Excel functionality that you have with your product, between that product and Excel, and being able to put together several different data sources to come up with some pretty robust reports. My question would be, what would an end user's background moving into the use of this product need to be with Excel? Because not everybody understands formulas or if-then statements, and so that would be, although the interactivity is a great thing, some people aren't to that level. So could you kind of speak to that? And in doing so, what would you suggest that someone who has some Excel background but hasn't really worked with formulas, and if they did, they didn't really understand it, they just read what somebody else did and kind of bootlegged it? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thanks, Barry, for your question. So before I address your question, I do want to clarify between an end user versus a power user, because I think you asked, on the end user side. So for an end user, they don't need to learn any Excel formulas, or they're not designing the templates. And so, really anyone can log into our web portal. You just have to guide them on, where to go on the web, how to click to find their reports, how to run reports. So that part is very easy, maybe an hour, even less, of guiding the end user on how to consume these reports. Now, for a power user, power users will be designing, and so it is nice to have prior Excel knowledge, being comfortable with formulas, right? Anyone, if you have a report writing background, that's perfect for a power user. We find that especially folks that are comfortable with SSRS, they find that BR360 is an extremely user-friendly tool. So it's only in the power user case where the user would need to be familiar with, Excel formulas. But if they don't know it, that's okay, because you can work with BMI. They offer training on how to build reports. We also have a very extensive a support website where if you log in, we have we have like high definition videos on how to create a report, like, the report that I showed you during this presentation, step by step. This is what you do. This is how you do your formulas. If you want it to look like this is what you do. We have white papers, we have user manuals, we even have a book written on BI 360. So a lot of resources, but essentially BMI can also do a 2-3 day training
Okay.
/ workshop where they go on site to help you build your reports.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. We've got another follow-up question. And Barry, anything else you want to ask before I put you on mute?
No, ma'am. That was it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Love it. Okay. Here's another one. Someone that we have on the line here is really interested in examples of forecasting reporting out of your product. Can you show an example of how you can do forecast reporting?
For forecast reporting, so I'm going to go back into let me get out of PowerPoint here. So for reporting, so you have the ability to even do forecast entry with our BI 360 product. And if you are, interested in seeing how that works, we can schedule a separate demonstration and spend time on the forecasting. But essentially, any forecasting input that you do using our forecasting templates, because you're pushing that data into the data warehouse, you can pull it back out in any kind of forecasting report. So, you can compare your actuals to forecast. You can have it set where it's a year-to-date of actuals, and then for the remaining periods of the year, it's pulling in forecast. So let me actually just quickly show you our forecasting template, and then, if you want to schedule a separate demonstration on how this would work, we can spend more time here. But essentially, you can input your forecast into these yellow color cells. You save this form, and then essentially the forecasting data will get pushed into our data warehouse, and anything you push into the data warehouse, you can pull it in a report type format. This is just one example.
Excellent. And I think, again, what I love to see done when we're working with our clients is we can talk about, well, what are the reporting challenges? And then we've got folks that can show you how to get through that. All right. Okay, let's see. Can you also pull the information, the data from multiple sources?
Yep. And that is the power of our data warehouse is, operational data, payroll data, Google Analytics data, and internal data warehouse that you maintain on Excel spreadsheets. You can bring that all over into the data warehouse and report off of a single tool.
Love it. Yep. Yeah, you guys are one of the best examples of data warehousing out there. Excellent. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions in the queue. It looks like we're at the top of the hour. So thank you so much. Oihe, you did a great job as always. You can always hear the passion. This is fun. And thank you, everybody. Sure hope that you learned something new today. And again, don't be afraid to reach out to your account manager and talk specifics. And we'll make sure we can demonstrate and show you how would that work for your company.